So, hello student. Myself is Kakasaheb Shinde, Department of Biology, Devgiri College of Aurangabad. Today we shall see our new topic from the crop science. Crop science is the bifocal subject, and in this subject there is a topic that is weeds. Means topic number 12 is about the weeds. Now on the planet or on this earth, generally two types of plants are there. Number one is crop plant, which is mostly cultivated in field as a crop plant, and another is a weed which compete with the crop. Means they generally compete with the crop plants. Means crop plant meets the need of the man, while weed which compete with the crop. So here the topic in which we have to study the weeds only. The word weed was put forth by the scientist, that is Jethro Tull, Jethro Tull, who coined or who proposed the name that is the weed. So what is the definition of weed? First of all, I have told you that two types of the plants they are there. Number one is crop plant, another is the weed. So first of all, about the weed. Weed is any plant not sown in the field. Means weeds are not sown in the field by the farmers. Generally, farmers cultivate the crop plant. They do not sow any type of the weed, that is any plant not sown in the field by the farmer is out of place. Generally they are out of place, is called as weed. This is the definition. Means here any plant not sown in the field by the farmer is out of place, is known as the weed. So in examination, generally one question will be asked, define the term that is weed. At that time you have to write the definition of the weed. Means any plant that not sown in the field by the farmer, and they are mostly out of place, they are commonly known as the weed. हिंदी में अपन उसको तन कहते हैं. तन means here weed means in Marathi tan, which is useless or which is not useful to the mankind. Then weed is the unwanted plant. This is the important. Weeds are mostly, weed is an unwanted plant. Then a plant that is out of place. This is also important. Means plants that are the out of place, they are also said to be the weed. Then next is a plant is extremely noxious, means honeycomb, which cause generally harm to the crop plant or any crop plant. They noxious means honeycomb. Then it is also useless. Second important one is useless, and third important is poisonous. Means a plant that is extremely noxious, useless and poisonous, they are mostly said to be the weed also. Then the plant compete with the crop plant. Generally competition is there along with the weed as well as the crop. That is a plant compete with the crop plants and interfere with agriculture operation. For example, plowing, then tilling, these are the operations. Then sowing, then they generally interfere with the agriculture operation. Means this is regarding about the weed. means weeds are unwanted plants, they are out of place, they are extremely noxious, useless and poisonous. Then a plant compete means weeds mostly compete with the crop plant and interfere with agriculture operations. These are some characters regarding the weed. Then weed not only reduces crop yield, you see in field when the crops are generally sown, for example jawar, maize, any crop, when they are sown, if we do not remove the weed, then it mostly reduces the crop yield, but also remove the plant food material from the soil. Generally, soil contain different minerals, essential minerals or essential macro as well as micronutrients. They are present in the soil, and these nutrients, these materials, they are removed from the soil by the weed. Then the loss of nitrogen, generally for the complete and normal growth of the plant, generally nitrogen is essential. You see in case of chemical fertilizers like Supla or urea, in Supla NPK are there. N means nitrogen, which is rich in the soil, and it is generally useful for complete as well as normal growth of the plant. So the loss of nitrogen through weed is also high, means it is 150 kg per hectare. This is the loss due to the weed, means the loss of nitrogen through weed is mostly high, that is 150 kg per hectare, which is essential. Then weed deplete crop nutrient, water and light, means weeds deplete means कमी करते, क्या कम करते, तो nutrient which is present in the soil, then water, we call it as a moisture, as well as light when they are grown in height, then light is also generally deplete means kami karne, we call it as a deplete, means weeds deplete crop nutrition, water as well as light, that is we call it as a sunlight also. Means here weed interfere and cure inconvenience to agriculture operations. This is also important point, means it interfere and cause inconvenience to agriculture operations. This is also important point regarding the weeds. Then the quality of produce is reduced by the weed. Quality, or we call it as quantity, both are reduced by the weed. Then the losses due to weed depends upon the intensity of infestation, means intention, how much intensity of weed is depend on the interference, means circle, we call it as circle. And then sowing operation with seed drill is not possible, means due to the infestation, means it is when it is high, then the operations that is farmers can generally do is not possible because of the infestation, means the sun circle. So these are the only general characters regarding the weed. You remember only the definition is compulsory important, means in 1 mark in examination generally for 1 mark define the term, that is weed is also important. Then secondly, what are the important characters regarding the weed, means these are unwanted plant, number 1, they are out of place, second point. Then third is plant is extremely noxious, means हानिकारक, then useless as well as poisonous. Then a plant compete with the crop plant and interfere with agriculture operations. These are the 3 to 4 important points regarding the wheat. Then another some points are also there. Means they reduces the crop yield. Number one, they loses or they decrease the nitrogen which is present in the soil, that is as high as 150 kg per hectare, that you know. Then next is weed interfere and cause inconvenience to agriculture operation, that we have already seen. Then next is the quality of the produce is reduced. Means quality is also reduced because of the weed, means quality mostly is reduced. Then next is the sowing operation with the seed drill is generally not possible because of the weeds. These are the some characters regarding the weed. Then harvesting is also difficult and delayed due to the precaution of the weed. Means if we have not taken the precaution of weed, then the losses are more as well as more and more. Then next is about the weed growth that we have to see. This is in short about the general characters regarding the weed. Then next is weed growth habit, that is weed growth habit. Weed growth habit, you know, the weed growth or the development stages are similar to those of crop plants. Means crops as well as the weeds both are the same plant, but their weeds are harmful to the crop plants. Means the growth pattern is the same, development stages are also same to that of crop plant. The important growth stages of the grasses are presented by: number one is the germination. Number one is germination. Second is the seedlings. Then third is tillering. Tillering, Marathi we call it as mashagat, the Marathi word. And then fourth is the stem elongation. Then fifth is the booting. Then sixth is inflorescence. Emergence. Uday. Inflorescence within. Then seventh is anthesis. Then eighth is milking. Nine is duck. And 10th is ripening. So these are the 9 growth habits of the weeds. Yes, weed growth habit, savai. So here first is about the germination, second is the seedlings, third is the tillering means mashagat, then next is the stem elongation, You see, suppose here this is the any plant here. This is the leaves as well as branches, and here these are the roots. Here rooty plant is there. Here there is a stem, and here these are the leaves. Means here stem elongation in case of tree plant, or in case of the weeds, stem elongation takes place. Then booting is also there. Inflorescence emergence means a formation of inflorescence. Inflorescence means a reproductive shoot bearing commonly number of flowers, or sometimes a single flower. We call it as the inflorescence, which is generally emergence, means it generally forms. Then next is the anthesis, milking, doubt, and last is the ripening of the fruit. Ripening means ripening or maturation of the fruit or the seed. These are the some growth habits of the weed. They are like this. As early stage of the weed growth are important for weed control. Means as early as we control the uh, growth of the weeds as early as possible. Means when the duration is there, long duration, automatically the growth increases, and it is not easy to control the weed. Then the seedling stage is subdivided depending on the leaf numbers. Means about the leaf number, generally we will see that the growth of the weed, it is the uh, complete or not complete. Means here in brief, the weeds, their growth or their habit, these are the 9 different steps of the weed growth. And uh, next is the critical period of weed consumption. Means here you have to study next a critical period. A critical period. A critical period of weed consumption. Of weed consumption. The critical period of weed competition, not consumption, weed competition. A critical period of weed competition means weed competition along with crop is for nutrient, light, water, and CO2. This is the important. Means first important character regarding the critical period of weed competition is weed consumption. Means weed consumption. Weed competition. Weed competition along with crop is for nutrient, then light, then water, and CO2. Means for the competition, a critical period is there for weed competition. Means weed competition along with the crop is for nutrients, then light, water, and CO2. Means for the process of photosynthesis, light is also necessary, water is also necessary, CO2 is also necessary, and with the help of the green pigment, generally the process of photosynthesis takes place. Means this is the critical period. Means if there is a competition between the crop plant as well as the wheat, there is a critical period, and generally in this critical period the nutrients they are essential, then the light is also essential, then water and CO2. Then second is the critical period of wheat. Competition can be defined as the critical period of the wheat competition can be defined as the shortest the shortest time span during the crop growth during the crop growth when weeding results in highest economic returns. Means here the critical period of wheat consumption can be defined as the shortest time span. Means it is the shortest time span during the crop growth. Means at the time of crop growth when weeding results in highest economic returns is known as the critical period of the weed competition. Then next is the yield level obtained by weeding during this period is similar to that obtained by full season weed free condition, and critical period of weed consumption is found to be 13 days. This is the important critical period of the weed competition is found to be 13 days. Means in 13 days generally the growth of the weed is mostly takes place for most of the crops. Then the length of the critical period of weed competition depends upon the nature of crop. This is also important. Here the nature of crop is also important. Means 13 days is the period, but the nature of a crop is also important in this critical competition. Then next is the competitive ability or of variety and growing condition. It is also important regarding the critical period of the wheat. And then next bit is there are some characteristics regarding the wheats. They are means some characteristics are also there regarding the wheat. This is in general or in short about the critical period. Then main important is the characteristics of the wheat simply wheat. What are the characteristics? Generally in examination give the general characteristics or simply characteristics of wheats are also asked in the examination. The number one is weeds are considered as a enemy of a crop. means weeds are considered as enemy of crop plant. This is the important, means weeds are considered as enemy of the crop plant, and they possess the following characters. Means the important characteristics are characters, means they are mostly enemy of the crop and they possess the following character. Then next, second is the weed seeds. The weed seeds germinate earlier. Germinate earlier. And seedlings grow faster. Means here seeds germinate earlier and the seedlings grow faster. Then a third important character, means इसके पहले क्रॉप प्लांट के पहले जो वीट के सीड है वो अर्लियर जर्मिनेट होते हैं और उसकी ग्रोथ विद इन 13 days the growth of the wheat is mostly completed yes before the crop plant. Then next is they are non-useful, means mostly the weeds are non-useful. This is also characteristic. Then unwanted, non-useful, unwanted, and undesirable. And undesirable means we call it as anishta in Marathi, anishta. Then next is the flower early profuse seed production and mature ahead of crop. Yes, they mature ahead of crop. This is also important character. Then fifth character is they are harmful to crop and cattle. Means they are harmful to crops and cattle. Then they are hardy and can be thrive even under adverse condition. Means in adverse condition also they thrive. THRIVE barbarat. Means in adverse condition also they grow in good manner. Then seventh is they have very high reproductive capacity. They have high reproductive capacity. Then next is about the 8 viability. of seed, viability of seed is mostly more, is more, or they are intact also, or remains intact. The seed, due to special structures like the wings, generally the seed possess sometimes wings, sometimes hooks, sometimes spines, etc., can be easily disseminated, means prasarit करणे, or we call it disperse also from one place to another place. And next is, many seeds are vegetatively propagated. This is the important point. Mostly many seeds, they are vegetatively propagated and spread all over the field. For example, harali means harali, we call it as a गवत, लॉन, म्हणजे जे शेतामध्ये बांधावर इकडे तिकडे किंवा काळ्या जमिनीमध्ये वाढतं हराळी. जनरली इट इज दी व्हेजिटेटिव्हली प्रोपोगेटेड, मीन्स इट रिमेन्स इयर्स टुगेदर अंडर दी सॉईल किंवा बिलो दी सॉईल. दॅट्स वाय मेनी सीड्स आर व्हेजिटेटिव्हली प्रोपोगेटेड लाईक दी हराळी सीड्स. आणि लास्ट इम्पॉर्टंट कॅरेक्टर, दे ॲक्ट ॲज ए हार्बरसाइड फॉर pest and diseases, means all weeds or majority of weeds, they act as a harbor, harbor, harbor in Marathi we call it as a bandar, for different pests and diseases. Means weeds act as a harbor site for pests and diseases. So in brief, we have seen about the weed and their general characteristic. Then remaining part means the classification of weed, that we will see next lecture. Thank you.